everyone, and welcome back to Liz Sews. Today I have a highly anticipated tutorial, and that is for Emerald Erin's Black Beauty bra. This pattern has been out, I think, a week and a half at this point, and I've already gotten 6 or 7 requests for a tutorial, and I was only too happy to oblige. If you're not familiar with Emerald Erin, she runs a bra supply shop out of Ontario, Canada, and she has several patterns. Last year, I believe, she released the Geordie bralette and some boy shorts as well. And so this is her first wired pattern, and it is based off of one of the bras that she made in a bra week challenge back in 2015. So the bra week challenge, she challenged herself to make a new bra every single week, bra or swimsuit, and week 44 was the Black Beauty bra. I'm going to pop up a picture here so you can see the original inspiration bra for Black Beauty. And I, along with many other people in the bra making community, were absolutely obsessed with this bra. And so it is perfect that this is her first entry into the wired bra patterns. So this pattern does come in some smaller size sets. So I believe it runs, I think it's 28 through 40 band, and that's like B through double D, and then the second size set is the same bands, but then E through G. If that's not right, I'll try to pop this down below right here that tells you exactly what the size sets are. In order to determine your size for this pattern, you just need 2 measurements. You need your under bust measurement, so right underneath your bust, not including any of that breast tissue, and whatever that number is, that's going to be your band. Unless it's an odd number, then you need to round up to the next even number. So if you were to measure a 33, you want to make a 34 band. If you measure 34, you're just going to make a 34 band. So that's a little bit different than some of the other patterns that I've shown you guys that always add an extra 4 or 5 to that band number. The other number you're going to need is your full bust measurement, so right across the fullest portion of your bust. And the difference between the full bust and your under bust measurement is going to give you your cup size. So if it's a 2-inch difference, that's a B cup, 3 inches is a C cup, 4 inches is a D, and so forth and so forth. So using that different sort of measuring method, I actually ended up making a 34D. Now this is a lot different than the bras that I typically make. I would say in orange lingerie or cloth habit, I tend to sit pretty securely in that 38B to C range. So don't be surprised if when you're measuring you get a number that is a smaller band than you're used to and a bigger cup than you're used to. So here I'm showing it into view B, and that is an all lace version, but they also have the options with this pattern, which is view A, to make it with fold over elastic, and I will pop in a picture here of some fold over elastic view A versions that Erin has made. I think both of them are absolutely gorgeous, and I definitely have some kits coming so I can make some of those as well. Let's talk a little bit about how this bra is constructed. It's essentially a 2-piece cup, so an upper and lower with a horizontal seam running across it. And then we have what's called an external power bar. So this power bar is intended to sort of push the brush tissue towards the center, giving you a little bit better of cleavage in the middle, but also giving you more projection out this way. This power bar is loose, so it is not attached to the cup at all. The only place it's attached is along the wire line and then along the armholes. Now that we've talked a little bit about the bra, let's look at all the different pieces and materials that are involved in making it up.
So here we have all of the pieces involved. This is essentially a 2-piece cup. So you have your lower and upper piece, and then this power bar or sling actually gets attached on top of that piece, the cup, once it's formed. So this is going to be a very similar construction to the Berkeley bra pattern by Orange Lingerie. So I will also try to link that up here if you're interested in seeing that. So you have a 2-piece cup, and then your front cradle is comprised of 3 pieces. You have this bridge and then mirrored versions of this side cradle, and then you have your back piece. So everything that is on the front of the bra, so the cups, the bridge, and the cradle, I have also going to line in a sheer cup lining. That's this fabric right here. I'm using a 15 denier stabilized sheer cup lining that I purchased from Bra Builders, and the lace is just a stretch lace that had scallops on either side. Now, when I get to the back of the bra, This looks a little bit different than what the pattern gives you, and I will show you how I made those changes. So for the back of the bra, I'm still going to use lace because it's a stretch lace, and I want to have this same look all the way around, and then I'm going to line that in a 50% stretch power net. So I think I did a fairly good job of matching the power net to the lace, but it doesn't really matter because it's all going to be covered up anyway. So let me move all these pieces out of the way and I can show you how I made the changes to this back band. So let's take a second real fast to look at how I've changed the pattern pieces in order to give me a little bit more coverage in the back. So first we have the cradle, and this is the cradle that is written in the pattern, and you can see that the pattern ends right here, and then I've just extended that up by a little pie piece. So I've not changed the wire line at all. That's remained the same, and I've given myself just an extra, I think that's 3/8 of an inch on the upper side to get my new pattern piece. And then I also went over to my back band piece. You can see this is the original here, and then this is the one that I'm using. So I lined up, and I want the same length of piece, so this edge is extended on either side, and then I extended this one as well. I've lengthened it at the top here by the same amount that I've lengthened this piece over here, and then I've just gone ahead and done straight lines all the way across to give me a little bit more coverage. So you can see how drastically that pattern piece is changed, even though some of the fundamental pieces like the side seam haven't changed very much at all, and it's the same length. This is just going to give me a little bit more coverage. In addition to all those fabric pieces, you're also going to need notion. Hook and eye, I've got a 3x3, but use whichever size your size pattern calls for. Lower band elastic, upper band elastic. You'll know the difference between the upper band and the lower band because it will be skinnier. Again, use whichever size your pattern calls for. Underwire channeling. I've got the fluffy stuff here, but I've also used the nylon version, which looks like double fold bias tape that's just been sewn. Either of them work well. Strap elastic. I've got a 1/2 inch strap elastic here. Rings and sliders. You want to use the rings and sliders that are the same width as your strap elastic. So if this is 12 millimeters, you want to get 12 millimeter sliders. Lastly, underwires. I'm just using the underwires that the pattern calls for the size I've chosen to make. While we're on the subject of wires, I just wanted to talk about this briefly. She mentions in the pattern that this pattern is drafted for her orange underwire, and this is a particular style that she sells on her shop, emeralderin.com. You can see it right here. I'll try to link you to this wire chart also in the description box below. So all I do is print it out. You want to make sure that your 1 inch box is still 1 inch. That way you know everything is to scale. And then what you can do is you can take the wires that you already own and sort of compare it to this and see where it fits. So I like to use a 40R wire, and this is one that I purchased from Beware out of Sweden, but you can also get this exact same wire from Sweet Cups in the United States and Bra Maker Supply in Canada. So this is the wire that I know fits my body. And when I'm going and looking at the pattern, I kind of want to know which cradle will fit this wire the best. So your first instinct is to think that a 40 wire is a 40 wire, right? So all 40s are going to be the same. But if I put this and I lay it over top of here, we see that the 40 wire just doesn't fit super well. It's a little bit too narrow on the underarm edge and on the center front. It actually fits a lot better with the 38. So you can see in the 38, if I line it up, it fits almost exactly under the arm and all the way around on that curve. The only difference being is it's just a little bit longer in the center front. So I can be pretty confident that the 30, any size that's drafted for a 38 wire will fit my wire pretty well. Coincidentally, when I get my size from the chart, it says I should make a 34D, and that size does in fact use a 38 orange wire. So my wire that I typically buy, which is a 40R, is going to fit in really well in that cradle without any modifications.
So before we start sewing, we just need to set up our machine, and there's a few things I wanted to remind you of. For needles, I'm going to be using the Schmetz Microtex needles. Not everybody likes the Microtex needles. It kind of really just depends on what your machine behaves well with. But for my particular machine, which is a Bernina 350, I find these Microtex needles work for most of the fabrics that bra making entails. In terms of thread, I have just a Gutermann polyester based thread. I really suggest that you use a poly thread instead of a cotton thread, just because you're going to have a lot of seams that are under a lot of tension with the bra, and the cotton thread just isn't as sturdy and stable. So highly recommend a polyester thread. And then lastly, I have a walking foot put on my machine. That's because my machine doesn't come standard with a dual feed. So this is just going to help with those fine, delicate, slinky fabrics to make sure that they stay perfectly aligned and aren't shifting all over the place. So if you don't have a walking foot and you have a very basic machine, I would recommend it. I also have seen a lot of questions about what sort of machine you need for bra making. Now, you don't need a fancy machine. As long as your machine can do a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch, that's all you need for bra making. So even those very cheapy, like, you know, brother machines that you can get at Walmart will work for bra making. Does having a nicer machine make the sewing experience better? Yes, but it's definitely not something that you need to like invest in heavily if you're just starting out. That concludes day 1 of the Emerald Erin Black Beauty Bra Sew Along. I hope you'll come back tomorrow where we'll start putting these actual fabric pieces together.